From regular expenses to occasional splurges, there's a lot to buy. Why not get cash back every time you spend? With the PenFed Power Cash Rewards Card, you get cash back on every purchase. That's everywhere, every time you use it. You can even earn a $100 statement credit when you spend $1,500 in the first 90 days. Visit PenFed.org/PowerCash to apply. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is almost here. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who started their search for coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online, so he started
at myhealthpolicy.com. I took my time and found the coverage I was looking for. And done.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com and done. Switched to a better plan.
And Michael.
I met with a local licensed insurance agent face-to-face and done.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to compare top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans, or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, joining me is my Buddy Read co-host, Classy Green. We'll be discussing the thriller His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Stay tuned.
Hey, readers. Are you trying to read more books by Black authors, or have you been doing this? Either way, check out supportblackauthors.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the Black bookish world. We just recently released a trivia game to test out your knowledge of Black authors and have planners designed just for book bloggers. Head on over to supportblackauthors.com and use code SHELF for $3 off and free shipping. Happy reading!
Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and thank you for downloading this month's Buddy Read discussion featured here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. If you're new here, every week we get bookish with book discussions, book reviews, shelf bites, and more. If you're wondering what is a Buddy Read, this is a feature where Classy and I select a thriller or mystery title that we both are interested in. Then we have a candid conversation about that book or audiobook. We even discuss it in our Facebook group, Shelf Addiction Official, during a live chat. So grab a glass of wine, a cocktail, a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your drink of choice is, and settle in for this fun discussion. As always with book chats, there is a spoiler alert in effect, so you've been warned. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with your book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including this podcast after show. If you'd like to support the show in other ways, please consider doing that by supporting our sponsors. By supporting them, you are supporting us. Check out all of the sponsors at shelfaddiction.com/sponsors. If you've read the book or listened to the audiobook and would like to weigh in on this conversation, be sure to join the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. I hope to hear your thoughts on this discussion. Links for everything I've mentioned are in the show notes, so let's get going. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we're going to jump right on in. Joining me is the Buddy Read feature co-host, Classy Green. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hey. Today we are discussing the audiobook version of His and Hers by Alice Feeney, narrated by Richard Armitage and Stephanie Racine. The length is 10 hours and 39 minutes, unabridged. It was released on July 28th, 2020 by Macmillan Audio. So before we get going, Classy is going to share the synopsis.
Okay. His and Hers. There are two sides to every story. Yours and mine and ours and theirs. His and hers, which means someone is always lying. Anna Andrews finally has what she wants. Almost. She's worked hard to become the main TV presenter of the BBC's Lunchtime News, putting work before friends, family, and her now ex-husband. So when someone threatens to take her dream job away, she'll do almost anything to keep it. When asked to cover a murder in Blackdown, the sleepy countryside village where she grew up, Anna is reluctant to go. But when the victim turns out to be one of her childhood friends, she can't leave. It soon becomes clear that Anna isn't just covering the story, she's at the heart of it. DCI Jack Harper left London for a reason, but never thought he'd end up working in a place like Blackdown. When the body of a young woman is discovered, Jack decides not to tell anyone that he knew the victim until he begins to realize he is a suspect in his own murder investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so first let me just say I do have my notes. You probably can't see it, but those on Patreon can see it. There, I got pretty good notes. They're kind of sloppy, but I had to get all the names down and draw the lines and make some
and the connections
and make the comments. So hopefully I do better this month than I did last month.
Oh, you remembered, huh?
Yes, I did. So I'm like, let me put it on a big old notebook that I can't just,
toss away.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. Where should we start? I mean, okay, so let me just say, I thought that overall the book was fine. I thought that it had a kind of a slow start, but things got interesting for me when we first come across the first dead woman, and then we quickly learn that Jack had just slept with the woman the night before.
Right, yes.
That was the scene that got me like, oh, what's going on? Okay, let me dig a little deeper. That was yes, that was the very beginning.
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, I was vested at that point. What about you? What was the scene that got you vested?
Probably that part too, because it was rather slow. I would say I was intrigued by the creepy voice distorted voice at the beginning, the clickety clack click. I was like, what is this? So I'm just like, is this the, I'm assuming it was the killer because it was a voice distortion. But I thought it added that creepy element to the story. So it drew me in, just that, because we only got that, I think, at the beginning, and then it dragged. So I would also say when they found that body, because it was just like, she's baking brownies or she's baking cupcakes and she drinks a lot. And I'm like, classic.
Yeah. So
then
I think
have the officer, have slept with the woman. I was like,
And then we find out that the news anchor who lost her job, who is now a beat person again, got to go out and cover these stories. Right. We find out really quickly following that wait a minute, Anna and Jack know each other.
Yeah.
What the frick? Oh, wait. They were married.
And right. And then it really started picking up because Feeney does a really good job of leading us on without giving us, a lot of information. We're always guessing with her writing. So, it was like you knew they had some kind of connection, but you were like, are they not? Because I like how she twisted that where he said he was at home with a 2-year-old, and didn't have any sleep. And I mean, spoiler, you guys already know spoilers, but also they would have had a 2-year-old because they were their exes, right? Wouldn't their daughter have been 2 at the time too? So it was just like I felt like Feeney played a lot of mind games in this book.
She did, because okay, so when it was all said and done, okay, so she did trick me. She did get me. I'm gonna say
you look like I didn't like that.
Let me just say, because it's one of these things. So I give her props. She did trick me. But it's one of those things where I bought the red herring hook, line, and sinker. I thought I knew.
Yep.
And it made sense all the way up until the very, very end.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
to the beehive.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I thought so too. I fell for it too, because at one point I was like, maybe it's so and so. No. And then I was like, because I doubted myself several times with her red herrings. And then I was like, but then I went back to my original. And then I'm like, yeah, she got me too. I was not happy.
So let me just say, okay, so this center is really around like 5 women that knew each other in school, and they weren't friends, but they were mean girls together off and on.
And they fed off each other.
And they fed off of each other. There was the ringleader, as always, with the mean girls.
Yeah.
So Rachel was the mean girl. She was the first woman found dead. Yeah. So after we figure out, I feel like the turning point for me, like I knew it was a woman. I think maybe pretty early on, I knew the killer was a woman just because of the level of organization. She, like the things that they would say, even though it was distorted, I'm like, that's a woman. That's not a man.
Yeah.
So I felt like I knew the killer was a woman the whole time.
Yeah.
Which was correct. But when we got to the point where there was one scene where 4 of the girls played this mean trick on Catherine, who we just met, and she drinks pee by accident. That made me so mad. I was so sad for her.
Yeah.
In that moment, I instantly in my brain said, she's a killer. That is what happened, because I thought, that is a trope, and I've seen it before where, you bully someone, and obviously the bullying goes on and on throughout the school year.
The rest of your time at the school.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, it's got to be her. She's coming for you.
Yep, she's going to turn that ugly duckling is going to turn into a swan, baby, and you will not even recognize her. That's how I felt too. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this. I've seen this story before.
Yes.
I've seen this.
And we were partially right, because she did turn into a swan.
Yeah.
She changed her name a little bit. She looked a little different. She went off and got married and had some kids.
Had a little work done.
Had some work done. I mean, because Anna didn't even recognize her.
No. And I think one of the turning points where I realized, this is Catherine from school. Cat Jones is Catherine. I don't know if you remember where they said she would just pluck out her eyebrows, to the point where she didn't have any. Mm-hmm. And then at the beginning of the story, Anna says her eyebrows are tattooed. And I was like,
yeah,
this is her.
Uh-huh.
But again, I think, what's her name? Kat is a redhead in the book, I believe, which is so weird. And that was another thing I wanted to talk to you about too, sidebar. Why does everybody have to be a redhead? Like most books that we read that has mystery, thriller, it's always a redhead in one of the stories. But I digress. But yeah, she was a blonde. She was almost like albino type in school. So yeah, she changed her appearance a lot. And it was quite interesting, and all the tricks of misplaced items or items placed strategically in Jack's car and in Anna's possession. And it was like, who is this? Everybody was a suspect. Everybody was a suspect.
It was hard to kind of sort out who could be doing it, except for I felt like Helen, no. I just felt like she just ended up dead. She was the second person to be found dead.
Right. She was the smart girl who was the headmistress of the school that they, right?
Yeah, I think Helen was also the girl that when they were in school, Rachel kind of blackmailed her or, talked shit to her to get her to write the papers for them.
Right.
And she said, oh, I got something for your ass. So she wrote 2 of the same papers.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. But Rachel beat her up. I was like, dang, Rachel.
I know.
But I
mean, Rachel is crazy.
Yeah, I would have loved to know even more of her backstory for her to get to the point where she was at. I was like, this is more than just your spoiled rich girl, because I mean, this girl delved into, the bisexual relationship she had with Anna, which it was like, was it really a relationship or was she grooming her?
I feel
I think
like
she was grooming her.
I wrote down molested with a question mark.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, they're the same age, but Anna was not on the same level as her.
No.
And Anna just wanted to be liked. So she used for terminology several times in that book where she just let her do what she wants.
Yeah.
Let her.
Yeah.
Not that she was actually an active participant.
Right.
But she let Rachel do what she wanted to do.
Right. Because she said she hadn't been held like that. She,
Yeah.
She had never been touched by a boy. And that's why I think like I would have loved to known a little more of Rachel's story, because she was quite advanced. And
well, that came out with the test story. Did you catch that she did a BJ for the teacher? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. And she's like, "Oh, I need gum. I need some mouthwash." And I don't know if you felt that way, but it felt like this wasn't her first rodeo with this teacher or any other teacher. It was just like, "Oh, no big deal.
Yeah,
we'll get this taken care of."
It's done.
I mean, this man was scratching. This man was scratching. It was just like he just knew, I'll bring in so-and-so first, but I know what I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah.
So I bet she's probably used a couple of the other girls, if not Zoe, probably Helen, maybe some other girls who probably just left and we just didn't know about. But yeah, Rachel was a classic mean girl. She was a madam. She was a teenage madam.
Yeah, they called her, well, the Voice, I'll just call it the Voice, called her a slut, a charity thief.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She was something else, like when let's go there with the stealing of the charity. Let's go back to, she started, what was it, like a charity fund when she was in high school for the lesser or the poor.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was time to buy alcohol, she goes into that fund and counts out the money. And Anna says, "That's for your charity, or for the poor." And she's like, "You dummy. You are a charity case. How do you think I was just like, damn."
Right.
She's like, "You are a charity case. How do you think I got you all those gifts and all this and that?" And I was like, whoa.
Damn. Yeah, that was crazy.
And she continued on with this ruse as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she started a homeless shelter or something.
She had a charity.
Yeah, and she was using the money, as the Voice said, for her hair, for her designer clothes, for her designer purses. So this woman did not change.
Well, that is the trigger that brought Rachel and Ann together. We found out that Rachel was trying to blackmail her again. She like, "I need your help." Because I think what it is Rachel like, "Oh, I seen this bitch on TV." You know what I'm saying? Like, she has a little bit of notoriety. Maybe she can help me with my fundraising or whatever. And she declined her. And then next thing you know, she's back there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And not just that, she's sleeping with her ex-husband. And, I think that was all, a part of her ploy to reel in Anna. So, but wow.
She would do things like, even when her and Anna would be messing around, and I still think that was, I don't want to label it quite that, but it felt like that. You know what I mean? It felt like it was forced.
Yeah.
But then she is taking photos. Like, what are you doing? She didn't say, but she didn't stop her either. She didn't stop her. She let her take these photos of her.
Yeah. And I think it was because she, like like we said earlier, she was grooming this girl for
Mm.
men. She was preparing her because she knew she was a virgin. She was taking these pictures, probably showing it to these men that we find out later at the, that they meet up with at in another location from Anna's 16th birthday party. So I'm assuming she's probably taking these pictures and either I won't say selling them, but at least showing some of the potential customers, look what I got for you guys. Here's this young girl, and and if she does this enough with Anna, she becomes comfortable because,
Yeah.
she was all uptight and she knew that Anna was, brought in a single parent home, no father. So it was almost like here you have this predator, a female predator, and not just a female predator, a predator of your same age group, where it's usually someone who's older. But here you have someone who is of the same age group, much more experienced than she is, but still a predator all the same.
Well, that makes me wonder, well, when I was reading it, I'm wondering, well, what did she do to Helen and Zoe? Like, I wonder, because at some point when Anna was getting all the attention, it seemed like the other girls were kind of jealous.
Yeah.
So was she trying to groom the others? And she said, oh, Anna's an easier target, so let me just focus my attention over here. So the other girls got dropped from the glow of attention of Rachel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I went in thinking that just like any other, when you think about like some of these kidnap stories and, oh, she's older or she's old, like the men probably want new, fresh meat. I hate saying that word, but they want something fresh. They're probably tired of Helen and Zoe. They want something new. And lo and behold, here comes Anna. And that's what I thought, or to the point where maybe Rachel's threats didn't bother them that much anymore. It was like
Helen didn't give a fuck. She was like,
yeah,
what up?
Yeah, but they still participated.
They
but
did.
I think it just becomes norm. Now, were they getting paid too? I know Rachel was getting paid, but did the girls get a cut? I can't remember.
I'm not sure if they did. It wasn't really clear if they did.
Right. Because I know the man said we paid for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just odd.
And so this scene, so apparently on Anna's 16th birthday, that she has this little party. Rachel, Helen, Zoe, and Catherine, they come. They're have their drinks. And of course, Anna's mother is trying to be the cool mom. So she's like, y'all can drink, just make sure you eat. Then they pretty much go and have their own, let's party.
Yeah. Yep.
And we didn't really get that scene firsthand, which I think was by design. I think maybe not that she was scared to write it or anything, but maybe she was just trying to save us from reading what actually happened on the back end of that birthday party. But sometimes I think when I thought that Catherine or Kat was the killer, or Kate or whatever she goes by, when I thought that she was the killer, I wanted to know what the hell happened at that party exactly to make her so,
right, to get her to that point of revenge. Yeah.
Right. So at that point I was like, well, I kind of feel like I should have gotten more of that evening instead of this iced over version. But I mean, in hindsight, once we know all we know, I guess it wasn't that imperative to the story to actually get into the weeds of that party.
Right. Because that wasn't, I mean, granted, they ruined her life. She left, but they didn't ruin her life enough for her to want to kill.
Right.
And I think, like you said, I think that's why Feeney didn't go into, I mean, she did give us some, but it wasn't delved in enough to the point of like you were saying, just some revelation that you would just be like, yeah, I'd get them bitches too. Even though the part we did hear, I get those bitches too.
Yeah, I mean, to me, unless I zoned out, I feel like I just heard that they were drinking. There were some guys there. They were somewhere else, like in the woods, or they were somewhere.
Yeah.
And I got like a gist of what was going on. Okay.
I mean, it got to a point where she was pretty out of it. And they basically pulled a train on her. You did hear that part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. And it got to the point where I think, because what did...
And by her,
Anna
you mean Catherine.
Catherine, right.
Yes,
because
let's clarify.
Right. They pulled a train on Catherine because I think she had become extremely inebriated. Yeah, because she downed the drink really fast, I think. Because when she got to the house, no one knew she was coming to the house. It was only supposed to be Anna, Rachel, Helen, and Zoe. Anna had invited Catherine out of,
And honestly, Catherine being there saved Anna.
Yeah.
Because Rachel hates Catherine so much.
Yep, that she basically said, "Hey, you guys just get her, shoot," because Anna said, "Get the hell off me." Once she realized what was really happening, she kind of stood up to the guys, and that's when Rachel kind of pointed them in Catherine's direction, who was just out of it. She
shouldn't
totally
even been
drunk.
there.
No, she shouldn't have.
And that is why, she thought Anna had set her up.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She really just invited her because she felt bad. She had no clue what Rachel skanky ass had planned.
No. And she was just trying to be, I think she mentioned, hey, if Rachel can invite Helen after what Helen did to us, I'm inviting Catherine. It was just kind of like tit for tat. And poor Catherine got the end of that. She got the bad deal.
That was so crazy. And I think that was enough to kind of want to get revenge, but maybe not murder. Because to go out your way to murder 4 people to plot it, I mean, I feel like almost the actual killer, who we'll reveal in a minute, I feel like almost the actual killer didn't even have the motive to actually kill all those people. I feel like, yes. Okay, let's just jump. Okay, let's do it. So the actual killer. Okay, so as we read along, the whole time I knew it was a woman, and I thought it was Catherine because she would have some kind of motive. Okay. And then after I realized it wasn't Catherine, I thought maybe Anna did it the whole time. I thought, well, maybe it was Anna. Because she had access to all this stuff. And then
she was present at 2 of the events before anyone knew.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it kept coming up. Jack would ask, how'd you know about that?
Yeah.
But so I thought it was her for a couple of chapters. And then at the very end, we find out it was her mother.
Yeah.
Who was pretending to have Alzheimer's.
Yes. Now, at one point, did you ever think it was Catherine?
No, I thought it was Catherine for most of the book. I thought Catherine was the murderer all the way up until the point where she died. I feel like when Catherine died, I felt like maybe she wasn't the murderer. For some reason, something happened in that period that I thought maybe it was Anna after all.
Yeah. Like when in the woods part, I think when they're driving away.
Yeah,
she hits her.
She hits her with the car. So she claims she thought she was in reverse.
Yeah.
But she hits her against a tree.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well,
maybe it's not.
How convenient. So she can't even speak because she's dead.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was at a point too where I thought, okay, it's Anna, because now she's just shut her up. She's just shut up, the killer. Yeah, because it was weird. It was like she hung herself, and then she got loose. It was like
It was a fake
that was a
hanging.
hell of a hat trick.
Yeah, because she knew these like ties and stuff, and it was
Yeah.
a fake out.
Yeah.
And come to
And-
find out, she only got up there because her kids were taken.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought that was weird. I'm like, why is she faking her death? Is just to get Anna in the right spot to do what?
Because I was thinking that whole time when her husband, Richard ran up there. So Richard kind of brought Anna to their house, to her, childhood home,
Yeah.
to Catherine's childhood home. And they're in there, and then you hear him screaming. I'm like, is she up there killing her husband?
I thought the same thing too. I'm like, whoa.
Yes. And then she
Yeah.
runs up there and she's hanging, and then the husband says alive. And then she thinks he means, I know you're alive. He's talking about himself, but he was talking about Catherine being
Right.
alive.
Yeah. And again, another red herring, because I'm just like, why is she? It was just weird.
Yeah.
But it kept me on my toes. It kept me on my toes. But like you said, come to find out, Catherine wasn't the killer. Anna wasn't the killer. It was, what was the mom's name?
Oh, what was her name? I didn't even write her name down. I just wrote the mother. The mother.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name either. And I was like, I didn't feel like going back. But yeah, the mother basically was cleaning up. Was she in the point of possibly selling the house, or went to clean up Anna's room, found a suicide letter that Anna had wrote, and decided, not to do, and burned it in the fire, or the fireplace, but it didn't burn all the way. And the mom, being the busy bee cleaner that she is, got the letter out and read it. And, all these years she thought Anna had left her because, we forgot about the confession.
So the mother, Anna's mother, we get this story mid-book where, I guess Anna kind of expresses kind of how loopy her mother is from all this drinking. One day she was supposed to pick her up from school.
Yeah.
She just decides to go home, and her mother is like laid out. She's got all this blood on her. She thinks she's just too drunk and something happened, basically.
Right.
But come to find out, that afternoon, the daddy attacked the mother, and she killed him and buried his ass in the backyard in the middle of the day. Yeah, in the garden.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So that is why she was all bloody and dirty.
Yeah. And that's why she would always tell her, don't call him, don't speak of him, basically. She ripped the phone out the wall. But yeah, so the mom revealed that she killed the dad, when they were in the forest, right? Oh, because she said, I think because Priya, who we haven't really brought up much, who at one time I thought, is she the killer? Because she had access too. Because that third, the distorted voice, they kind of threw out some red herrings themselves, because they were like, police are no different than journalists, or journalists are no different than police. We use the same tactics to figure out things. So like you, I thought it was a woman too. So I was like, maybe it's Priya, but I never could figure out what was her motive.
So if you guys don't know, Priya is the young junior detective to Jack, and they work together. And she has some weird things going on with Jack. For a minute, I thought she might have been like in internal affairs or something, like trying to be, get by him and figure out what was going on and act so naive. I thought for a minute she was trying to set him up for something, but it didn't really go anywhere.
No, but she was, a good distraction.
She was.
But she kept going to Anna's mother's house, and she had broke a window and got in there, and the mother said, "Hey, I think she knows." And you know, Anna's like, "She knows what?" She's like, I think she knows I killed your father." And it was like record scratch. You did what? And that's
Anna
how
didn't even really believe her at first, because she did such a good job acting like she's senile.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't
running
think
through
Anna
the forest in her gown.
Right. And she did all this. It was a long game, man. She's like, let me just walk around in my gown and bath, you know, and house shoes a couple times. People will believe me.
Yeah.
They'll believe I'm baddie and losing it.
Yep.
And I don't think Anna actually really believed her until she went to cover up that garden.
Yeah.
And she started finding bones. And she was like, oh, shit. It was the truth. So she covered up for her mother. She covered it for her mother.
Yeah. Yep. Because at first she was like, okay, Ma, sure. Sure you killed Dad.
Like, you were drunk and you're loony because you're losing it. So
yeah. She's like, I can see, you know, you went back to drinking and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like you said, after she realized that her mom did that, and she found the, you know, in the knife, because she had picked up the knife.
Which also led me to believe that it was her, not her mother. Because when she's in the hospital, she talks about, oh, they didn't find his knife. I got this knife.
Yeah.
So they were talking about, where's the knife?
Yep.
And so I'm like, well, why are you hiding the knife? Like, okay, so you must have done it, because why would you think to pick up the knife?
Yeah. And put it in your purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. At that point, I was like, yep, it's her. Case closed. And then I think at that point, I had looked at my timer or my percentage, and I think I was only at 90%. And I'm like, what else is there to talk about?
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. That's when I knew.
Case is not closed.
Yeah, that's when I knew. I was like, okay. We found out who the killer is. It's Anna. All right. But no, it was not her. And, you know, I did have a feeling in the end that her and Jack were going to get back together.
Of course.
You know, because
they had to throw that good old typical romance second chance at love story in there.
Yes. And how convenient. They have a 2-year-old niece.
Yes. They can replace their baby with their niece.
They can have a family again. I was like, really? Wah, wah,
yeah,
wah.
which Jack said, oh, my niece who's already starting to feel more like a daughter. Right.
Yeah. I was like, you could have left that out. But okay, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. So, but yeah, they, and eventually they moved in together, and she sold her mom's house. She sold her flat.
Oh, no, she rented her mother's house. She didn't want to sell it.
No, I think she wind up. No,
at the end,
renting. Okay.
Yeah, she sold her own flat and bought a new house that Jack and Charlotte, or not Charlotte, that's her daughter's name, and her niece moved into.
Olivia,
yes.
Right.
And then remember, because Jack was saying she kept coming every weekend to kind of spruce the place up, and it was going to be listed for rent.
Okay.
Because I think because her mother told her why she didn't want to sell it, she doesn't want to sell it.
Yeah.
Because someone could break that patio up and find a body.
Yeah, but I think she wind up digging up everything and make sure they'd never find a body. I think she put I thought she said they would never find bones or whatever. She cleaned up and she put a stone or something back there where the garden was.
I feel like I thought the bones were still there. She just covered it with a patio, unless I missed something, because I didn't get where she moved where would she move the bones to?
I don't know. It was just getting at the end. It was just like, okay,
yeah,
come on.
It was this long-winded.
A little convoluted, but I mean, I got it. You tricked the hell out of me. You did.
Twice at the end, twice there. So not only did you get me once, twice.
Yeah, shame on us. She got us. Yeah.
But I don't think it's really. It was even looking hindsight, considering the mother story, it was not obvious it was the mother, because we had kind of one unreliable narrator, and now three. well, one for sure, and two actually, because it wasn't his and her story. It was his and her story.
I thought the same thing. I was just like, this title is not right.
No.
It is not right. Granted, it was told from 3 points of view.
Yep.
So yeah, it wasn't just, it should have been his, and his, hers, and hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it, yeah.
And because, the killer was unreliable. So, the voice, because we don't know who the voice is for the longest time. So the voice turns out to be unreliable narrator. It turns out her mother was an unreliable narrator because she was drunk. She had Alzheimer's. Psych, she didn't.
I know.
Yeah. So we had two unreliable narrators. So it was hard to really once you knew it was the mother, to figure out, well, where would I have known it was the mother?
Was her. Yeah. Yeah. Only way I could, and like you say, it was just in hindsight, with the keys. She was a maid service basically to everyone in the village. But I mean, like you said, there really wasn't a reason besides, revenge for her daughter who didn't visit her. Now she, so I guess she felt like I'm paying her back, or I'll take care of this, Mama Bear kind of.
Like they took my family away, because at the very end, when she was taking care of Olivia, she was kind of just saying, oh, I've got my family back, Yeah,
happy family is what she heard. Yeah. But I did find a few little holes that I was just like waiting for. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the story, who was it? Was it Anna? Somebody, I think it was Anna. She made these cupcakes and she left them at somebody's house, and she left the person $20. Do you remember that at the beginning of the story? And she says, I don't mind if she buys alcohol with my money. I do. And I was like, okay, but we never knew who she left the cupcakes for.
No, I don't even remember that.
It was early on, because, she said everybody made fake cupcakes and blah, blah, blah. And at first I thought it was she left cupcakes for Kat, but Kat hadn't even came into the story yet.
Okay.
So I don't know who she left these cupcakes for. Yeah.
Okay. Let me think about that. I don't know.
It was pretty early on in the story.
Okay.
Because I even at one point went back and just went from the beginning, because, we did our 10%, and then I was like, let me just do a refresher. And I came across that again, and I was, because I write stuff down and I'm like, okay, so who did she leave these cupcakes for? Because I believe it was Anna that was speaking. I don't think it was the the distorted voice, the killer. I don't think it was that person, because they didn't even make cupcakes. They were stealing shoes and boots and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of, and then that whole, the ending, the whole villain monologue basically that came from the mother. It was like one of those Scooby-Doo endings, except for no one figured out it was her. So it's like she ripped her own mask off and gave this long drawn out, this is how I did it. Pay attention, boys and girls.
I know. And my thing too was like this is it. I'm going to tell it before Priya finds out, but I'll probably be dead from cancer by the time that happens.
Which she might, even because Priya's still coming around. Knock, knock, knock. But she got something for her, because guess what she was doing in that last scene?
Yeah,
she's dealing with her bracelet. She's making a red and white friendship bracelet.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, Priya, girl, you about to die. This old woman that you think, this old lady gonna get you.
Yep. What you making there? Oh, just something for a friend.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, and I was I was wondering too, like when she said, did they find the knife in the beehive?
Mm-hmm.
And, and I was like, she said that to Olivia, or she said it to
She
Anna.
said it to Anna.
Yeah, and but Olivia was there, didn't she? Wasn't
Yeah,
Olivia?
everyone was there. Even Jack was there.
Yeah,
but
and
that's why Anna played it off. She was like, bees don't need knives, Mom. You know what I mean? She played it off like it was dementia.
Yeah, and Mom did too, basically.
Yeah. She let it go.
It's just like, so yeah, Mom threw another red herring out there, like, yep, I'm just crazy. It was a knife out there. Don't believe me. Like, oh.
And I do wonder if maybe ultimately Hannah knew her mother did it, because
I thought about that too.
Because the mother even said, I wonder if she recognized the knife. That was a part of a gift that she gave her.
Yep. She said it was a set.
Yeah. So if she picked it up, maybe she noticed, I have a knife just like that. And she picked it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's like, well, Mom did kill Dad, so maybe she did kill these other people. Maybe it's one of those unspoken things. We're not going to talk about it.
No. But what we're going to do is we're going to protect her at all costs.
Right. And because she already, and they kept saying, well, she's got this cancer. She's going to die soon anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Because she did have Alzheimer's. When she went to the doctor, she had cancer. Mm-hmm. So what, for all these years or however long, she's doing this knowing my days are numbered.
Yeah, she's not even taking the medication. You saw how she lied and said, I've been hiding this medication. I'm going to go on my own terms.
Yep.
As myself.
She's had been putting it in the garden.
Yes. So, I mean, she putting all the stuff in the garden and then making these meals out, these vegetables from this garden. I want to eat your food, lady. I don't want to eat your food.
I forgot about that. All this organic food. But remember,
fertilized by your husband.
But remember when when Anna came back to the house, her mom wasn't eating. Her mom was eating processed food. Remember,
she was.
She was like, "This isn't Ma. She only eats fresh food." Her mom was like, "Nope, won't be eating that."
I think that the only thing that changed her habits was that she was so busy planning these murders, she didn't have time to tend to her house like she normally does, because certain rooms still looked good, if you remember. She would go upstairs and the bedrooms were still in order.
Yeah.
But like she had just let certain things go. And I just think it's because she was so busy plotting these murders. She like, I don't have time to cook or clean these dishes. I got to get revenge.
Yeah. And I got to hurry and get back here.
Yes. And this makes me look even more crazy. So I'm just going to let this shit be. Right?
Like, I don't have nothing else to do.
That is what, and she didn't bathe in a couple of days. And that is what happens with people with Alzheimer's. They don't like to take baths and stuff for some reason. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's what
go ahead.
No, not short term. What is it? Long term memory is bad, but short term is whatever. But they don't. They tend to forget certain things. Yeah.
Yeah. They and then of course she's doing these meals because she forgets to eat for herself and cook or whatever. So it's like she is full on selling I have Alzheimer's because I'm a lady. No one would expect me to kill people.
Right. And my daughter doesn't come over here.
Yeah.
And just think, Jack almost died too.
Mm-hmm. He did, until she saw, well, they just need a little help getting back together. Because when the mother saw Jack with Rachel, she was like, that's skank and Jack, I'm going to get you.
Right.
She intended to blame it. She was going to frame him for everything.
Yeah. Yep, she had on his boots. She was sending the text messages. She was, man. Just think how tech savvy this little old lady was.
That made me think. Like, sometimes when you got these old people, they act like they don't know how to do nothing. And you be like, come on now. You know how to use this cell phone. Quit playing.
Yeah. I've had that feeling before, too, that I think you're just trying to get me over here.
Uh-huh.
I think you just want me to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what you want. Because there's no way. Because, I mean, right. Because his mom was very tech savvy.
Yeah.
But, you think about it. She was a businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
She's had her own business besides just cleaning. This, she knew a lot.
She
and
did.
a lot on everybody.
And the woman was smart. I mean, most people can't get away with killing their husband or wife. To be honest, most people cannot get away with it.
No.
But she did.
Yeah. Nobody questioned. Nobody missed him. I'm assuming everyone in town, not everybody, because the mistress or whatever at the school didn't realize that her dad was gone. But I'm assuming that some people knew he was a little snot or something because he wasn't missed.
No,
but men leave all the time. I mean, that's
Yeah.
classic. He just up and left.
I don't know. And honestly, something about all of this, even though it makes sense on the page, I'm like, this is 2020, man. You can't frame people like that in 2020. People will figure out what you're doing. Like, have you watched any other true crime stuff on Netflix? You will get busted. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like Priya's on her butt.
Yeah.
She knows something is off.
Yeah.
That's why she about to get taken out.
Yeah, because she's whittled it down to, okay, Jack, it's not you.
Yeah.
We figured out that, she's probably already figured out that it's not Anna.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, we know it's not Kat. She's probably.
Well, they set Kat up. So from the police point of view in this book, the killer
believe it's Kat.
The killer died.
Yeah. But Priya's got some.
She's
some
weirdo. She's a weirdo.
She's just one of those super smart people who will not let it go. She's by the. I'm taking up for Priya.
Look, she making Jack food. She buying him cigarettes. She's doing the most.
But she knew that if her boss, she probably said, I'd rather buy him some cigarettes than he be a jackass and be on my nerve.
I ain't buying my boss nothing.
Yeah, that too. No, you're just gonna be a jackass.
Yeah, yeah. No,
while I sit here and drink my wine.
I'm not taking care of you like you my damn brother or boyfriend or whatever.
No.
I'm not. No. What is that? And that's why I thought maybe she might have been like a CI or something, because she was like manipulating him or something. But no,
yeah, because I thought because when she went to get ketchup, I'm like,
right,
that's a long. Where the hell
you gonna
is
cook
she
your food?
at?
Right. I'm like, ketchup. I'm like, look, dude, you want this food? I don't got no ketchup. You lucky I made this food, okay? And even Jack was like, I'm surprised you made this food.
Right. No, I don't cook. And I mean, granted, she's probably lonely and this and that, but I'm not running out to get you no damn ketchup.
And what's up with the curry statement? Like, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like, why did that have to be put in there? He was surprised the girl cooked for him because they not cool like that.
Right.
But then Priya has to go, what, you expect me to cook curry? I'm like, what the actual? He like, no.
I thought the same thing. I was like, that's all you had to go with?
Right.
Really?
Like, really?
Out of everything you could have wrote, you said curry.
Right. I'm like, oh God. I'm like,
sorry.
what just happened just now? I'm like, okay, let's move on.
This just happened. And I was like, okay, editor, nobody called you on this? Nobody.
Oh, so if Priya was a black character, would she be like, what you want me to make you some grits?
Or some fried chicken? What you thought I was going to buy?
Right. I'm like, no, what the hell, man?
I rewound that because I was just like, did I hear curry? Did she really say curry?
She said curry. I'm like, what? And I did too. I went back 20 seconds. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right. They said curry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like offended. And he was like, no. He wasn't thinking about no damn curry. He was like, why are you even cooking for me at all? We not cool like that.
Weird. Right. But then he started feeling himself like, ooh, I still got it.
Yeah.
No, that's the liquor talking.
It's the liquor.
That was it. It was just because she was, I mean, and again, like you were saying, I thought she was trying to get information out of him because she was feeding him beers left and right. Like soon as he was done, here's another beer. Here you go. And here's another one. I was like,
She
gee.
was the most. Let's go for a drink. He like, no, everyone will be in our business in this small town.
Yeah.
Want to come to my place? Okay. I'm like, girl, what
Yeah.
what are you doing?
No. Right. You need to get out more. That's what you need to do.
Something.
She was impressed with him. He was my boss, and I thought you were the greatest, and blah, blah, blah.
I feel like I would have liked her character more without all of that. She could have been the novice junior detective
who played
learning
everything by the book. Yeah.
Right. Without that.
Yeah. It was doing way too much.
The most.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even like her, like I love this with Priya. I love the scene where Jack goes into the house and discovers Richard, I think, Kat's husband, and he's dead, and Priya looks at him like, and he's like, no. And she's like, Jack, right. She's like, and then she starts laying it into him. We got that same call, for, to cancel what was it? The ping on Rachel's phone and cancellation on the ping on Anna's phone. And, and I mean, she read him his rights. And I was like, see, if she would have just stuck to that of this junior detective who wants to be like Jack, because that's what she basically said is, I like.
That is not how you have a professional mentor relationship.
No. Not at all.
So, no.
No, right. The kind of relationship was her following, how he did everything, well, he didn't do everything by the damn book because he was sleeping with the girl and took the phone. Everybody, he kept a secret. But other than that.
And then he kissed her randomly.
I know.
That's what made me kind of wonder, like, okay, so if she's not going to be like a CI or something, or, I don't know what they will call them in the UK, but, I'm an undercover investigator or something, then what was Alice Feeney doing? Like, was she trying to leave a door in case she wanted to go there? Like, what exactly was she trying to build there that totally just got dropped?
Yeah, because it was weird.
It was weird.
It was very weird, and it didn't tie up, it wasn't wrapped up in a nice little nothing. Like you said, it could have just been totally eliminated. It could have just been, hey, let's, even if they sat down at the apartment and just had, because I mean, I don't have
they had beers and talked about the case. That actually would have been good. They could have talked about the case.
Yep. And what do you think? And blah, blah, blah. But no, it got into some freaky room. And then she was like, because Priya was basically like, no, you're gross. But, he still
and then he kissed her after she said that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, yeah, that could have really been left out. I enjoyed Priya as the nerdy detective who, okay, I effed up. I effed up these first couple of times, but now
I'm going to get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think this would be a good time to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk about the audiobook narrators. We'll give our ratings. So stay with us.
Yay.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item.
A little flexibility can go a long way. By refinancing your new or used auto loan with PenFed, you can lower your monthly payments for more flexibility in your budget. You can even schedule your first payment for up to 60 days from the date of your refinance. Calculate how much you could save at penfed.org/auto-refi or call 1-800-247-5626 to apply. Membership is open to everyone. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plan, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
All right, guys, we are back. Thanks for checking out those ads. Please support the podcast by clicking those sponsors in the show notes. Show them some love, and that's how you show us some love. So, all right, let's jump back into this thing. So we listened on audiobook, as we were mentioning, and there were two narrators, Richard Armitage and Stephanie Racine. And obviously Richard did, Jack's parts and maybe even the voice parts. Who could tell with the voice distortion?
Right. Yeah.
And then Stephanie Racine obviously did, Anna's parts. So what did you think about the narrators?
I had no problems at all with the narrators. Yeah. I enjoyed them. I listened at 1.25. I tried to speed it up a little bit, but the voice distorter was a little too much for me at a higher speed. But
I listened at 1.5. I just checked. Yeah, 1.5.
Oh, yeah. I felt like it was just too much for me. But I felt like Stephanie really gave me the emotion. She brought it. She brought the angst that Anna had. Throughout the story. Richard did a great job with Jack's character. He also brought the emotions and, even that sensitive part, even though he was a jackass, he was like the jackass, the sensitive jackass, I guess I could say, because he was the brother of Zoe, who was, I just felt like he brought all of it, that brother-sister relationship of, I'm only staying here because you needed help and blah, blah, blah. And then, but then, I love Anna but I'm having sex with her old friend, so I felt all that in his voice, and even the parts with Priya, like he was like, yeah, I'm feeling myself. I'm, and I was just like, oh man.
No. Okay, stop.
Yeah. I still got it. So yeah, I like both narrators.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't have any issues. What I was glad is I think they both had similar pacing, because when I did speed it up, I didn't have any problems with either or. So they must have already had kind of like the same cadence pacing as far as speed.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when there's more than one narrator, one will sound fine and the other you're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe then with the voice distorter, I don't know. It just felt like I couldn't understand the voice distorter, because I don't know about you, but at one point, because I was listening on my phone and then I listened on my Alexa device, and on my Alexa device, the voice sound is really, really low, and I had to kept telling it, increase the volume and turn up the volume. And it was just because their voices, even though they did have the same tone and pitch and cadence, it was low to me. So for me, that's just me, my ears. When I sped it up, the voice distorted. I just felt like I was like listening really, really intently. So. But that's me. Maybe my ears are.
I don't know. Maybe it was a little lower, but it wasn't enough for me to turn the volume up.
Okay. Were you listening headphones, or were you listening just like in your room?
I listened some on the computer.
Okay.
I listened some through headphones on my phone. I listened
Yeah.
some through my car radio when I was driving.
Okay.
So I had like 3 different sources I was using.
Yeah. And the car was fine. It just felt like, I don't know. The phone was fine. Alexa was just really low. It was. So.
Well, I thought it was cute. I like the little distortion voice. I like when they do different things on these kind of audiobooks to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was
I wonder how
nice.
that came off, reading that, because it was, everybody, the reviews that I've read, the people who did the audio, they were like, that voice was creepy. And some people left. They were like, I'm done.
I'm out.
Yes.
Peace.
Because that clickety clack, kill them
I'm
all.
sorry. Those people who were scared of that, I'm sorry. Y'all don't even have any tolerance for anything because it is not scary. Like,
no.
Okay, like you can't even watch the TV I watch if that scared you. Like,
yeah, I saw your blog, ma'am. I saw some of the movies you listed on your Blogtober, and I was like, oh.
You wouldn't watch some of those? I do like horror, though.
I know. I saw Conjuring something, and I was like, ooh.
Oh my gosh. So look, okay, so I already told you I have a thing with ghosts, right? Ghost is my that's my pressure point is ghosts for some reason, which we talked about before.
Right.
But The Conjuring, I only watched that because one of my coworkers kept telling me how good it was. So I watched the first one and I'm like, wow, that was really damn good. So I waited a couple weeks before I watched the second one. Yeah. But it is a little creepy, but just watch it at 9 a.m. By the time you go to bed, you'll be okay.
And watch the little Golden Girls before bed. Or
watch some Food Network, watch some comedy.
There you go.
There you go. Filter it right out. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm getting adjusted. I know we're off topic a little bit. I'm getting a little adjusted because I'm watching Lovecraft Country. So a few things I'm not as tense and jumpy as I used to be. And I watched The Haunting of Hill House, which I thought was like, okay, it's creepy, but it's not scary.
Okay, so this part didn't scare you. Okay, this part now scare is not the right word, but it creeped me the F out.
What?
So the part where like there's this guy, the one ghost where he has a cane and he's like, boom.
For which one?
Boom. The Haunting of Hill House. When he walks and his feet don't touch the ground, but you hear this boom, boom, boom. And then like that, for some reason, that just creeped me out.
Yeah.
And then the one scene, sorry guys, sorry, but anyway, with the one scene where the son and the father are in there and the son's looking at the father and the father's like, just look at me.
Yeah.
Just look at me. Don't look that way. I'm like, ah!
Yeah, it was creepy though. But it was addicting though. It was just like, I know it's scary, but I got to watch the next one.
Okay. It comes out like next week.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So yeah, I'm getting a little used to it, but there's just like you said, there's just some things that it's like, but I'm getting better. But this was like, it was creepy, but it wasn't scary.
It wasn't scary at all.
No, I think it just brought it up a notch. The clickety clack, and you could tell that this person's. So I was thinking their mental state was off. You go from clickety clack to kill them all. Just like, okay, somebody's lost it.
The very end, we hear that voice, and then we just hear the grandmother's voice. She, when the little girl calls her, she's like, "Oh, sorry, I was just daydreaming."
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she's pretty much talking to herself in this voice.
Yep.
Like, wow.
She is basically like talking to her about herself in third person. And I did notice that with Alice, her flashbacks. I don't know if you realize that the way she would do her flashbacks, it would just be like, here we're talking and blah, blah, blah. And back in 1953, it would just like, she just kind of just sneak it in there. And before you know it, it's like, okay, we're in a flashback. It didn't seem like the transition, but I mean, it didn't bother me. I'm not sure if that's how the narrator did it. It was like, I'd be interested to see how it was written.
Yeah.
But, the flashbacks were just kind of, all of a sudden she started, like you said, she was daydreaming Anna did it a lot. You know, she'd
Yeah.
just be thinking, and then all of a sudden she went back to when they were teenagers, and then she'd come back.
I do wonder if, like, in the book, maybe it was italicized or something to kind of break
Yeah.
it up and show people this is something different. Don't
Yeah.
get confused.
Yeah, and they probably did. But yeah, to hear it, you know, you're
Yeah.
just like all of a sudden she's thinking about, you know, I think one scene, um they were in the woods, you know, she's at Charlotte's grave, and she sees Rachel, or she's going to Charlotte's grave and she sees Rachel in the train or whatever. And then she flashes back to, you know, a time, you know, she flashes back. I can't remember exactly the time, but it was just
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, weren't you just at the,
You know, I don't like ugly. So, you
No.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes
I do,
karma,
and I've-
dude, karma.
Yeah. So I have sat back, and there's been some, you know, moments where you're in the grocery store and you're just like, damn, or you're trying to avoid them. So yeah, I do understand Anna and her flashback of Rachel.
I do. Yeah, and I understand, like like not liking people in high school, but not wanting to kill them either. Because like once, like I don't understand. Like I can never relate to that because, like I said, I've never had like experiences to that level where
Yeah.
I would feel like someone just
Yeah. No.
really tried to injure me on purpose like that.
Yeah. No.
So
No. I
Yeah.
don't. No. I don't. Mm-mm.
Lord,
But you
it'd
know, it
be
makes for a
crazy.
good book.
It does.
And not just that, people really do this.
Yeah.
You know, life
mean,
is
we've
stranger than
seen it.
fiction.
Yeah, we've seen it on like and it keeps coming up so many times in books that or TV shows that these writers are getting this from experience or something. This stuff has happened.
Yeah. Yep. You know, like they do. They base a lot of this on fact.
Yeah.
You know, and just
Change the names of the
emphasizes-
not so innocent.
But other than that, you know,
Yeah.
they say life is stranger than fiction. I mean, how many, true podcasts that you know, true crime podcasts or Netflix that you've seen, and you're just like, who does that? Like,
Man.
who kills an entire family over?
I was just watching that.
Yeah.
Were you watching? Did you see that?
Which one?
The husband killed the wife and the two kids, the pregnant wife and the two kids.
Yeah, the
And
one.
tried to blame the wife. I'm like,
You had a new little girlfriend.
because
Yeah.
he would rather just kill everybody and start over than get a divorce.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
And I'm like, really? Is it that good? Is it really worth it?
I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, I did see that. I remember
I remember that
when
case
that
too.
story came. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple that's happened in my town, you know, where the dad, it's just crazy. Like you said, it was just like, because you no longer wanted to be with this person.
Just get a damn divorce. Just get a divorce.
Yeah, now look what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fool. Anyway.
I know.
So
gotta
obviously
rate
we
this
watch
thing.
a lot of true crime and stuff, y'all.
Oh man. I can't wait till tomorrow. I have one to listen to. I got to catch up on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both like the audiobook narrators. We said all that to say we like the audiobook narrators. So let's go ahead and rate the thing. Why don't we?
Okay. I'm going first again.
Yeah, please. His and Hers by Alice Feeney. What did you rate it?
I rated it a 3. I almost did a 4, but I was just like, I don't know. I gave it a 3.
I am with you. I gave it a 3 because when it was all said and done, I kind of, lately I've been going with my gut at the end. Like when it's done and I shut the book, what's my initial reaction?
Yeah.
And my initial reaction was, okay.
Yeah, she tricked. Right. My gut reaction is
She
you
tricked
got
me.
me.
Yeah,
but
you
it
got
wasn't,
me.
But it wasn't a like, damn.
Right.
I can't believe that.
Right.
We've had those moments. And I think that's the thing. It's like when you've had that, you know.
Yeah. And I almost feel like it was a secondary story. That's why, like, you know how when I was saying, like, even going back hindsight, I couldn't even identify where in the story I should have been able to pick up that it was the mother.
Yeah.
Like usually when you have that kind of reveal at the end, you're like, oh yeah, well this happened and that happened and I didn't catch it.
Yep.
But I feel like this was
nothing.
isolated. Yeah.
It was.
So
she basically told us why.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like you said where, there were little breadcrumbs. There was no breadcrumbs that led us back. So, but yeah, it wasn't. It was just like, okay. And again, another factor that I can tell, we didn't chat at all.
No, we didn't.
We didn't chat
and
at
when
all.
it's good, we be like, did you get to this part? What percentage are you?
Yeah. When I was done, I was like, ooh, I know. I already know.
I mean, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It's not going to end up on my recommendation list.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, it was interesting enough that we had a fun conversation about it.
Yep. She tricked me.
She got me.
And and I will give her credit for that one.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, a lot of times you don't get tricked like that. But
with the long-winded villain monologue, I did it. Let me tell you every step of what I did.
Jinkies.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And I probably won't read another Alice Feeney book.
Same. I think I'm putting that to bed. That was good for what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're done talking about this book.
Yep. I'm done.
Okay. If you'd like to talk with us about His and Hers, you can find us both in Shelf Addiction Official on Facebook. And of course, you can always check out this episode after show on Patreon. So take care. And until next time, happy reading, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is almost here. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who started their search for coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online, so he started
at myhealthpolicy.com. I took my time and found the coverage I was looking for. And done.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com and done. Switched to a better plan.
And Michael.
I met with a local licensed insurance agent face-to-face and done.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to compare top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans, or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.